come on in, make yourselves comfortable. Beautiful to be together with you who are joining us in person. For those who are joining us from the comfort of your homes, we are thrilled to be together, to have our music team assembled here on the Bima. Aaron, our Zipser Foundation artist in residence, Rabbi Jen, myself, our clergy, some of whom will be traveling to Israel this week, so we are excited for them and wishing them a wonderful trip. And for all of these things and for being together on Shabbat, this gives us a real chance to be together, to pause, reflect, to take a deep breath, and to raise our voices. So turn in your prayer books, if you will, to page 213 as we begin our service. May your wonder be celebrated. May your name be consecrated. May your brilliance never fade from the magnificent world you've made. May your ways prevail in our own days, in our own lives, and in the life of all Israel. And let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen. May your name receive the same beauty that you bring, though you are far beyond the sweetest song we could ever sing. And let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen. Let us say, Amen. Let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. How many of you here know a centenarian, someone that's 100 or over? How many of you agree they're the coolest person you know? Centenarians, people that are 100 or older, are the absolute coolest people that I know, and I have been so honored to know quite a few, actually. And we are honoring a centenarian tonight that we are going to be lighting the candles on her behalf. Eileen Kerman, we hope that you're out there celebrating. It is her 100th birthday. And so, yeah. So we wish you Ad Me'av Ve'asrim to 120 as we open our book to page 12. Yom Ze LeYisrael, Ora V'Simcha, Shabbat Menucha. This is Israel's day of light and joy, a Sabbath of rest. As we kindle these Sabbath flames, may there be light and joy, happiness and holiness, serenity and peace in our homes and in our hearts. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, eternal source of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של Shabbat.
Continuing on page 22. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and anger. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We continue on page 34.
B'nei Shabbat nekabela, lechalodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diburecha. Ishmi'anu el ha'meuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad. B'shem tiferet v'litila v'chadodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela, v'chadodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Kabbalat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor ha'beracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. V'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. V'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. B'nei Shabbat nekabela, lechalodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha sola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala lechalodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela, lechalodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. Please rise for our call to worship.
Page 55, we'll be saying the Shema in just a moment, but turn to page 76 if you would. As obviously this is our moment of prayer. This page is actually filled with readings from different Hasidic masters, but I thought we would try something this evening and read it as a responsive reading and see what happens. So, everyone believes that one prays before God, but it is not so. Prayer itself is the essence of God. When you stand on the bottom rung of the ladder, you first check to see if it is sturdy and strong, and only then do you proceed to climb to the next rung. Such is the way with prayer. You must proceed step by step, rung by rung. It is easier to come up with 5 new insights into the Torah than it is to recite one prayer with deep feeling. With those insights into prayer, we turn to page 55 and pray the Shema.
Listen the whole day long. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod, Shem Kivod Malchuto.
As you're seated, we join together the chanting of Ve'ahavta on page 57. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
I've been trying to bring things from different parts of the prayer book, and there's one prayer which I haven't yet found, but I love it. It's called the God of Imperfection. I just love that phrase because, really God is so often in our imperfections. And so I thought I would highlight one prayer which we don't do at all here on page 61 to introduce the Michamocha, because it is a prayer of imperfection. Somehow, the editor, I don't know who he may have been, missed that there was a phrase which was turned around. And of course, the Israelites turned straw into bricks and not bricks into straw. It was written by Rabbi Kaluzny. I messed it up. So we didn't do it for years and years and years. And then COVID came. And suddenly we had a way, because we weren't using prayer books. So we had a way to use this beautiful reading. All the bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah kids would read this reading. And now we're back to books. So I'm afraid we're going to lose it. So I'm going to have you read it, but the correct way. We're turning straw into bricks. Everyone has that? Okay? So we read together. I was there. I turned straw into bricks. I ate unleavened cakes as we hurried to freedom. I saw the seas part. I was there. I sang. I danced. I am free.
בוקר היה לפני משה ומרים זאלי יענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד
about why we missed that edit in the prayer book. I say we generously. And I think it's because in the 10 Commandments, Charlton Heston, you know, the movie that we all watched during Passover and then fall asleep at the end, he says what? Thank you, Dad. And that's why I know that that's the problem, because he says bricks without straw. And so I think that when we read it, bricks into straw sounds right. What do you think? You gonna buy it? Yeah, I think that's right. All right, let's continue responsively on the top of page 63. I am awake to myself and all others. I am awake to those who share my home. I am awake to an ancient text. I am awake. We continue with Hashki Venu on page 64.
Hashkivenu,
Hashkivenu,
Adonai,
Adonai,
Eloheinu,
Eloheinu,
Leshalom,
Shalom,
Hamidenu,
Hamidenu,
Shomrenu,
Shomrenu,
Shomrenu Lechaim. We pray for a time
for a
our worries will
our
cease.
worries will cease.
Create in this moment
In this moment,
shelter of peace, shelter of peace.
Hashkivenu,
Hashkivenu,
Adonai,
Adonai,
Eloheinu,
Eloheinu,
Shalom,
Shalom,
Hamidenu,
Hamidenu,
Shomrenu,
Shomrenu, Shomrenu,
Lechaim. Ushmor Tzeitzeu, Uvoei, Chaim U'Shalom, Ve'ata ve'ad olam. Baruch atah
Baruch atah,
Adonai,
Adonai,
Haporei Sukkah, Shalom Aleinu,
Shalom Aleinu,
Kol Amo, Israel,
Israel,
Al Yerushalayim. We pray for a time when our worries will cease. Create in this moment a shelter of peace, a shelter of peace, a shelter of peace, a shelter of peace. We rise together for the Amidah. Adonai, Sifatai Tiftachu, Hofia, Hilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Ve'Hadorah, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei HaKol, V'zocher Hastei Avot Ve'Himaot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Chozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Abraham ve'ezrat Sarah.
We join together in the middle of page 69. Prayer invites us to let God's presence suffuse our spirits, to let God's will prevail in our lives. Prayer cannot bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Blessed are you, O God, who renews all things.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please be seated. As you're seated, we take a moment for silent prayer.
When I look at these Shabbat candles and I see these flames flickering and glowing, and they're so beautiful, and they really give me a sense of calm and a sense of peace for Shabbat. And on Sunday night, we're going to be lighting our Hanukkah candles. We'll start with the Hanukkah candles, one night, two night, one candle, two candles, onwards towards 8. And it reminds me, of course, of the miracle of oil, but also just the miracle of light in the darkness, that we start with one and grow all the way to a full Hanukkah of 8 candles, and how special that is. And it really gives me hope for these deep, dark days. And similarly, this prayer of the Mishberach gives me the same feeling, because when we're feeling in the depths, in the dark, when life is heavy and illness pervades our lives, that's what we need. We need light, we need hope, we need peace. And so as we turn to page 83, I invite us to turn to the words of Mishberach and think of friends and family members, even our own selves, who need this hope, who need this blessing of healing of body and healing of spirit.
Of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Since everyone is commenting on the prayer book and text, I'm sitting next to my grandson tonight, and you knew that prayer, I am awake to myself and others. It comes to the line, I am awake to the demands on my time, and I hear him read, I am awake to the demons of my time. It was a mistaken reading, but actually a profound addition to our text in the world in which we're living. Now, I could sit down and pretend that was my sermon, but I know how horribly disappointed you would all be. And I am not a rabbi to well, I may be disappointing, but I may not disappoint tonight. Now, I've always been a football fan. I grew up in Miami at a time when the NFL was not playing in Florida, or really in the Sunshine State. So my allegiance in football was first directed to the University of Miami, which was about 20 minutes away from my home. When I became a student at the University of Florida, I became a Gator fan. I'm going to take you back in history. Steve Spurrier was the quarterback when I was a student. While I was there in 1966, he was winning the Heisman Trophy. Southeast Conference football was and still is exciting. And I have to admit, I did enjoy watching the University of Florida win 3 national championships, 1996, 2006, and in 2008. Moving to Michigan and having paid 3 tuitions at the University of Michigan, my allegiance slowly changed. And this was tested when the University of Michigan was playing the University of Florida, and I found myself cheering for Michigan. I was now maize and blue. This year, once again, Michigan has made it back to the championship series. Now, I know that there are many of you, both who are watching and are also here, who are green and white. I always cheer for MSU when not playing Michigan. I want any team in our state to do well. And I find it utterly incredible when those people who say to me, no, we don't care who they're playing, we're against anybody if it's not our own school. It's exciting to watch the comeback of the Lions. Are you all engaged in that? It's exciting. It's almost enough to make me believe in miracles. Hanukkah time. Now, there was a time when we felt fortunate to be able to watch one game on television I see heads shaking, at a time. These were days when we had 3 major stations. While watching our favorite team, commercials were a time for conversation, perhaps a bathroom break, and clearly the addition of another snack. This year, I was introduced to the most confounding of changes in football television. It's called the red zone. How many of you know what that is out here? Okay. You no longer have to watch any game. You are now given the opportunity to watch when any team is in the red zone, which means they are close to scoring. Now, I understand that this works for fantasy football fans who are not only cheering for a team that they love, but also for players on their fantasy teams who actually may be playing against the team that they love. If you're confused, find someone young tonight before you leave to explain what I just derived. I'm not a red zone fan. It gave me a headache. It was all too confusing. I yearn for the good old days of watch, relax, and cheer. I'm going to suggest this evening that the red zone is an apt metaphor for the way that many of us live our lives. We run from one event to the next. No time to pause, to slow down, and allow the subtle changes going on in our lives. Now, many who are in the sanctuary, and even more I know who couldn't be here but are watching on the live stream, will be traveling with our Temple Israel family mission to Israel this coming week. We will be moving from place to place. There's so much to see. It's kind of red zone-ish, my term, the highlights. I guarantee we will have a great deal of fun. But our mission message will focus on the incredible accomplishments of our brothers and sisters. What we actually learn while in Israel will be as important as what we experience. Now, some of you may be aware, the first time this trip was scheduled, it was canceled because of COVID. I did try on a private basis to schedule a family trip last year. I wanted to take the 16 in my family. It was canceled because of COVID. 3 times a charm. We will celebrate next Shabbat together in the Negev, Israel's fascinating desert. Our final Shabbat will be in Jerusalem, where we will participate in bar and bat mitzvah celebrations. It's so extraordinary to see how many young people have these opportunities. The first time that I went to Israel was my junior year in college. I was a student at the Hebrew University for an entire year. It was on that trip that I made a decision to finish my college years and begin 5 years of study leading to rabbinic ordination. When I arrived as a very young rabbi at Temple Israel, I suggested that we needed a Teen Israel program. There was no program in our city that was taking teenagers to Israel from within any congregation. Very brave parents sent 18 teenagers with me on a 7-week excursion. And by the way, a 7-week excursion cost $999. Take a deep breath. A 7-week excursion. By the way, we didn't stay in the beautiful accommodations that we now use, but it was incredible. For many years, Susan and our family, we schlepped our little kids. I remember carrying bags filled with formula and finding a bag big enough to carry a little crib in. And it culminated with 2 buses and 80 teens from this community. And then I got unlucky. I got a little older. Paul Yedwab arrived in town, and I passed this trip on to him. And I promise you, of all of the experiences I had to give up during my years, that was the most difficult. It was the most fun being with your teenage children. And then he passed it on the door by door. And this is the group that is now leading your teenagers to Israel. After a few years, parents came to us, many who had sent their children to Israel, now with kids out of the house, able to afford an adult trip, and our adult mission program began. We joined with Federation to participate on 3 miracle missions sent by our community. This is important history. The first bringing over 1,600 participants to Israel. It was amazing to see 3 El Al planes sitting at the airport in Detroit. First time the El Al had ever flown in here, and it was extraordinary. Imagine, this is probably still the largest mission from any community in this country and from our little community of Detroit. There is a 4th mission sponsored by the Federation in March. I want to repeat that. There is a mission sponsored, an adult mission, in March. Still time for you to join. Rabbi Yedwab and his wife, Cantor Michaels and his wife, Susan and I will be on that journey, God willing, if they do not leave us on Masada next week. We are called Temple Israel because Rabbi Leon Fromm, our founding rabbi, was one of the first rabbis within the Reform movement to stand firm on the belief that Zionism was important. We are committed to Israel because we recognize the significant role that our homeland plays in the life of our people. We will travel to Israel to explore the land. We will visit Israel and meet the people. We will return from Israel with a greater understanding of the political situation, which is incredibly complicated and challenging at this time. We, in our community and around the world, are living again at an incredibly challenging moment for the Jewish people. We face anti-Semitism in our nation. We face anti-Semitism in our city. This past week, 2 remarkable programs in our community, a response to our concern. In Israel, we will enhance our skill to deal with those who are unwilling to accept the idea of a Jewish homeland, and we will try to understand how important it is that Israel must be a safe environment for all of its citizens. Whatever religion, whatever ethnic background, Jews and Arabs, Christians and Muslims, this state of Israel must become a place where no matter what your religious identity, ethnic identity, historic identity, you will be comfortable in the state that you love. We will be seeing the highlights of Jewish history on this mission, recognizing that for many, especially for our children and for our grandchildren, this is the first of what we hope and pray will be many trips. We will not be in the red zone. We will be in the blue and white zone, the colors on the flag of Israel that you see to your right. Israel, a modern state, is this year celebrating its 75th birthday. Modern Israel is an incredibly young state by any standard, a remarkable country built on the foundation of our ancient history. How fortunate it is that we will be in Israel for Hanukkah. We will see that Shamash lit brightly and strong and pass the light from one candle to the next, in the same way that we are trying to pass the traditions of our faith and people, the Dor Vador, from one generation to the next. This is our responsibility. Of course, we'll also be there for New Year's Eve. At 11 p.m., many of us will gather around a large screen TV, cheering on the Wolverines. At one with the people of Israel, at one with the state of Michigan. Wishing all of those who will travel with us great joy and blessing. Wishing all of you an opportunity in the not too distant future to be in Israel again, because it's only when you are there that you get to absorb the essence of the place. And I know we talked about people who'd made it to 100 years. I hope to be leading a mission when I've attained that incredible age. But don't wait for me. You have much more to do. Shabbat Shalom.
There's a space in our menorahs for a very special guest, and we call it the Shamash, and it's doing just what is best. Oh, can't you see it sharing its light for the other candles they needed to? Oh, can't you see it sharing its light, the same light that shines in me and you? So stand tall and light your flame, and the Shamash you will become, as we light each other's candles one by one, one by one. Well, just one, a single candle may not seem so very bright when it shares its flame with others. It makes a festival of lights. Oh, can't you see it sharing its light for the other candles they needed to? Oh, can't you see it sharing its light, that same light that shines in me and you? So stand tall and light your flame, and the Shamash you will become, as we light each other's candles one by one, one by one.
Before we move on in our service, I need to figure this out because I want to know, while all of you say you're Michigan fans, I need you to be honest here. Raise your hands if you actually know the team that Michigan is playing next week or New Year's. Okay. None of my colleagues have any idea who's playing against Michigan. They claim to be Michigan. The team that's going to lose, he says. That's right. Okay, so I have no idea. TCU, Texas Christian University. Okay. In any case, as Rabbi Loss mentioned, we are going to Israel next Tuesday. Some of our families have already left. Cantor Smolesh and his family. Many of the families are living out of town, but there are some who are here tonight. So I'd like to invite all of the families who are part of our Israel trip to join us here on the Bima for a special blessing and also to help us open the Ark. For Aleinu, we all rise together. Israel families, come on forward. Everybody going to Israel, come on forward. And the rest of us rise on page 189, and we'll continue with Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Okay, the rest of you can be seated. But this is yeah, you guys have to stand. This is such an exciting moment in your family's history. This is a trip that you will remember for the rest of your lives, surrounded by the people who are most important to you, building community, exploring the land, tasting the food, hiking the mountains, and we're really jealous up here. But we are so excited to send you with a blessing of love, of joy, as you go to our homeland, the Promised Land, and represent all of us. We know you're going to make incredible memories along the way, and that truly this will be such an unbelievable highlight in the story and the narrative of your families. So we are thrilled to offer you this sacred blessing, this blessing of our people in this moment as you take your place in our chain of tradition, visiting this place that is so important to us all. So we'll ask you to wrap your arm, if you have people that you came with, to wrap your arms around each other, and you're all going to be community by the end of next week as we offer you this sacred blessing. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God bestow favor upon give you peace. Amen. Amen.
Nesiya tova, a good, safe, and sweet journey for all of you.
As all of our Israel participants return to their seats, it is my joy now to invite Amy Brody, a member of our executive committee, to come forward to offer our congregational announcements. Just so all of you are aware, there are actually 123 total people going on this trip. So many of them are just not here tonight, but it's a 3-bus group. We're very, very excited to be traveling together.
Next time. I would love to be joining you in Israel. Shabbat Shalom. It is so nice to be with you all in person. Just hits a little different when we're together here in the sanctuary. I just want to highlight a few programs coming up in the next week. On Wednesday, December 21st, the fourth night of Hanukkah, you are invited to join us at Beaumont Hospital in Royal Oak when we do moonbeams for sweet dreams at 7:45 outside the east entrance. Don't forget your flashlight. On Thursday, December 22nd, the Sisterhood is welcoming Professor Howard Lupovich, who's going to lead an interesting discussion on Jewish spies. He's a fantastic lecturer if you have not heard him before. And next Friday night, December 23rd, please join us for latkes in Lo Mein. We're going to celebrate Hanukkah with family and friends and then stay for Shabbat services. As a reminder, the administrative offices are going to be closed the week of Monday, December 26th, throughout that entire week. And I invite you all to join us for the Oneg and Shabbat greetings afterwards. So on behalf of the Board of Directors here at Temple Israel, I wish you each a good week and a Shabbat Shalom.
We turn from the joy and the celebration of Shabbat and our Temple Israel family mission to the task of memory as we turn in our prayer books to page 195 at the bottom. We are the pages of the book that was begun those many years ago. We are the holders of the dream that shines brightly in our children's eyes. We are the ember of the flame that was gleaned from those who walked before. Threads together woven, joys and sorrows to each other bound, a people forever united. We now recall those who died in recent days in the period of Shloshim: Mel Ball, Beverly Bennett, Sarah Berlin, Linda Birdsong, Robert Boeski, Sidney Bradley, Kenneth Brenner, Mark Dems, Sarah Eason, Daphne Fenster, Ruth Frankel, Arnold Meyer Fuller, Betty Ruth Gilbert, Alan Goldberg, Mark Goodman, Alan Greenstein, David Scott Handel, Gloria Handelsman, Dennis Harris, Ophelia Herman, Norman Kaniger, Eliyahu Ali Carbel, Alan M. Rubin, Marcia Sakwa, Maurice Siegel, Dr. Alfred Shaw, Linda Solomon, Edith Sweetwine, Diane Rose Victor, Brian David Vitas, Anita Volk, Judge Jamie Wittenberg. We also remember those whose yard sites fall at this time: Irene Rose Bader, Faye Beckwith, Zoltan Beer, Irving Berman, Barbara Bornstein, Sheila Naomi Brown, Friedel Davids, Nelson Dums, Phyllis Diamond, Ruth Dreyfus, Lindsay Jacobs Silver, David Fishman, Mickey Goldberg, Beatrice Golsky, Albert Gutman, Percy Red Heron, Harry B. Jacobs, Jerome Cantor, Rena Cantor, Thelma Kaplan, Morris Collin, Anna Commissar, Dr. Albert Corby, Louis Koretsky, Arthur Lieb, Karen Lowitz, Barry Mincer, Francis Moretsky, Ben Morganroth, Donald Rissman, Geraldine Rissman, Elizabeth Sanders, Gail Sweetwine Saney, Carol Scheuer, Gertrude Scheuer, Regine Schmier, Shirley Seffinger, Abraham Siderman, Anna Singer, Eileen Stein, Charles Stone, A. Albert Sugar, Coleman Verona, Dana Wortel, Millie Wish, Harold Kramer, Isaac Melner, Suzanne Morton Corman, Rosalie Lipson, Selma Leon, Frances Barnish, Eileen Stein, Arthur Moss, and Irving Lakritz. Tehei Nishmotehen Sorot B'Tzra Chaim. May their souls be bound up in the bond of everlasting life as memory, as we turn now to page 199 for the words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'izman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Omeo Maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekucha berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran v'yama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. O say shalom b'mromav. Huya say shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. Amen.
Amen. Once again, Nesia Tova, safe travels to all of those who are traveling on our family mission over the weekend. And a special thank you to Aaron for sharing his new Hanukkah piece one by one, and for helping to beautify our service this evening. If you want a repeat performance tomorrow night for our Saturday Night Lights, he'll be performing that piece again, and I'm sure it will continue to become a classic. So as our service concludes, we join together with the prayer that we want everyone to have a happy, a joyful Hanukkah, a Chag Sameach over the weekend. We conclude with Adon Olam on page 201. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra ואת נעשה וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה, והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ונעשה וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה. והוא אלי והי גואלי, וצור חבלי ועצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, ונקוסי ביום אקרא. אדון עולם, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ונעשה וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. בידו אבקיד רוחי, ותישן והעירה, ועם רוחי גוויעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך. שבת שלום, חג שמח.
Family mission participants, go grab a bite to eat and make your way down outside the chapel to the paid atrium. Look for me, I'll be out there.